In this video, we're going to talk about the Nez Perce conflict. I feel like when people cover the Plains Wars, they really just cover Sitting Bull and Custer's Last Stand and Wounded Knee, and we move on. But there's so much more. So the Nez Perce conflict, this is important, as they all are, okay? In 1855, a portion of the Nez Perce homeland is designated as a reservation by the U.S. government. So at least they have that going for them. Like, they're not forced out like the Navajo are. At least they get to keep some of their land. But that's about the only good part that comes from this. They also get a treaty, the Treaty of 1863, which, according to the tribe, is more considered the Thief Treaty or the Steal Treaty, because it reduces the size of their reservation by 90%. Due to the discovery of gold in the area. So we do what we do best again. We found something we want, we're taking it from you, even though we already gave you this. By 1877, the non-treaty Nez Perce, so the ones who have refused to live on the reservation, the ones who refused to sign this treaty, are sent on a 126-day journey. The Navajo had to walk over 300 miles. The Nez Perce have to walk over 1,170 miles through 4 different states while fighting the U.S. Army. That's not a small feat. And the conflict begins when the U.S. Army gives the Nez Perce 30 days to relocate from their reservation that was given to them in 1855 by the American government. So they're going to meet in a lot of different places. Obviously, you can't go through 4 different states and over 1,100 miles without having conflicts along the way. So the first battle that the Nez Perce engage in is the White Bird Battlefield. This is when the young warriors are enjoying their last few days of freedom before they're forced into this march and off. And so they do what any young children or young adults do. They go on a little spree and they're attacking homesteads on the Salmon River. And then they move to Lamoda, which are homes of the White Bird Band. So that's probably not a great look for them. And so the cavalry is sent in to investigate what's going on in the Salmon River, what's happening. We've been hearing rumors that there's attacks. They're going to go investigate it. And a scouting party of Army and the peace party of the Nez Perce are sent out to meet. And they are instructed not to fire, which is always important. And so, of course, what happens next? A weapon fires. You're instructed not to fire, a weapon fires. Who fired it? Was it accidental? Who knows? But either way, it was fired and the battle begins. And the U.S. Army is defeated by the Nez Perce. 34 are dead, 4 are wounded, but there are no deaths on the Nez Perce side. And so they are also able to pick up arms and ammunition from the army that has fled the area and left them all behind. And so they break camp and they cross the Salmon River now to continue their journey, but now they're being pursued by the U.S. Army because now the U.S. Army is angry that they lost their men to these people. So things are going to escalate, obviously. Meanwhile, we have Chief Looking Glass, who has stayed behind on the reservation. However, the U.S. Army has determined that they're not going to trust the Chief Looking Glass and his followers who have stayed behind on the reservation. They don't trust that they're staying neutral. They believe that this is a ploy. And so the captain of the army is sent onto the reservation equipped with Gatling guns to force a march. They are also there to surprise and capture Chief and everything that belongs to him. So Looking Glass sends a peace emissary. I hate to even try to say this name because I don't want to offend anybody. It's Pio Tholiket. And he says, we want no trouble. We ran away from war. They stayed there, right? They were the treaty Nez Perce. They stayed. And so negotiations begin, and then surprise, again, one of the U.S. troops opens fires, and a Nez Perce man falls. And so now, obviously, everybody's upset. And so the villagers in the area, they flee up the hillside, and the soldiers go on a rampage, and they destroy the village, destroy the possessions, capture most of the 700 horses that are on the reservation, but they fail to arrest Chief Looking Glass. And this act is what pushes Looking Glass to accept that there is no way that peace can be achieved, and he resolves to join the other non-treaty bands. So in this fear that he wouldn't stay neutral, they forced him to not be neutral by attacking him, which sometimes you see. So following that, we have the Battle of Big Hole on August 9th and 10th in 1877. Now again, the Nez Perce are just on their way. Over 800 of them are passing through the Bitterroot Valley after they had crossed Lolo Pass in Montana, and they didn't think they were going to be pursued. They are very unaware that the Army is very close behind them, and so the U.S. Army launches a surprise attack on the sleeping encampment. You may notice some trends here where we constantly attack sleeping opposition, right? We did that in the Mexican-American War. We like to attack people when they're sleeping because perhaps we don't believe we can win when they're awake. I don't know. But they attack on the sleeping encampment, and between 60 to 90 men, women, and children are killed. An unknown number are also wounded. Some are killed by Bitterroot civilians, not even the military. Some Bitterroot civilians come out and join this fight. Some of these people knew the Nez Perce. They were friends, or as friendly as you can be. 31 military and civilian are killed and 38 are wounded. So you would think the U.S. at this point would take the even out. Okay, we lost the other battle, we won this one, but we never give up, and then we always make sure to decimate to the extent, again, genocide. The Nez Perce flee south again. They cross back into Idaho. They head east to Yellowstone, and they are now attempting to avoid towns and settlements because now they don't trust anybody. And again, the military catches up to them at Camas Meadow. In Camas Meadow on August 20th, 1877, so if you're following that timeline, it's only been 10 days, the Army camps out near the meadow, and the Nez Perce scouts return to their base with the location of the enemy. Meanwhile, one of the tribal members named Black Hair has a vision of them escaping with Army horses, and he reports his vision to the chief. So 28 men are organized under Chief Ollicut, Chief Looking Glass, and Chief Tutsuluk. I cannot say his name. I'm so sorry. If any Nez Perce wants to correct me on any of this, please feel free, because I definitely don't know how to say that name. It starts with a T. They are organized a band to carry out the raid, and so around midnight, warriors from the Nez Perce approach the Army camp, and the sentry mistakes them for returning military men. So he calls out a challenge to them. Once again, a shot is fired. The rest of the U.S. troops awaken, and then the warriors take action. The U.S. companies are ordered to recapture mules and horses that have been released. Company L is ordered to follow the warriors, and they catch up about 5 miles out, and both sides exchange shots and fight for over 4 hours. And just as the military men realize that they are being encircled, the recall is sounded and the companies retreat. And Company L ends up building rifle pits and remains waiting for reinforcements. The warriors leave as reinforcements arrive, taking with them most of the mule herd and a few horses. So Black Hair's vision does kind of come true. The reason they took the Army mules is because if you take the pack mules with you, you don't have the ability to head forward because you don't have anything to carry your massive weapons and all of your weight. And so the Nez Perce are able to continue on, and they head on to Yellowstone, where things will continue to escalate. And we simply don't have enough time in this video to finish up all of the conflicts of the Nez Perce, so you will get another one shortly.